Also, Grammy Pick'em Pool, we have a winner that we'll announce. We'll share with you guys how well you did. I was atrocious in my picks, just awful. Let's go over some of the highlights. Let's start with Alicia Keys as a host. I liked her. I thought she was really good. Coming off of Neil Portnoy's, I didn't even remember what he said last year, but I know it was, I know he slighted a lot of women and they were really upset. So they started the show with J-Lo and Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama got like the applause of the night. They were so excited to see her. I didn't know it was a surprise. I was like a little stunned by the applause that she got, especially because she walked out and she was like standing on stage. She was like the third person to talk and they like went crazy for her. I think she could run for president. I really, really do. She could run for president. I think she would win in a landslide. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I think she would do better than what the Democrats are putting up right now. That's how I wanted to phrase that before I get 4,000 emails from people. But she was very, very welcomed. Apparently that was a surprise. That was a last minute ad. I guess the producers were scrambling after they canceled Ariana Grande, who, by the way, Instagrammed a photo of herself in her dress, like laying on the floor. It was the saddest thing that she wasn't there. And she actually won. I can't remember if I picked her or not. But I'm angry and sour at all the artists and the Grammys in general because I went 2 for 13 in my picks. It's just horrific. Alicia, I thought was amazing, though, honestly. From her just like randomly singing at moments with, who did she did it a couple of times and it was really good. I was just a big fan. And then when she sat down and did the dual piano thing, she sat in between two pianos and went over Smokey Robinson. When she sang with Smokey Robinson, it seemed like it was a little bit of an unplanned thing. I thought that was lovely. I thought that was awesome. It was awesome to see Smokey. He looks great. But when she sat down to do the dueling pianos thing, she sat in between two pianos and just played. And that was amazing. And she was going over the songs that she wished she had written. And it was like a lot of just covers. We don't have a ton of good clips on this. There's one. Where is the one where she started playing Coldplay? I really like that one. Is it this one here?
Who didn't wish they wrote this song? I know I do. But we can't do everything. We all need somebody.
She's amazing. She didn't actually sing it, which I was a little disappointed by, but I just like just watching her do her thing up there for like 5 minutes or whatever it was, just bouncing back and forth between the two pianos. Floored by that. Floored. Just absolutely floored. It was good to see that kind of stuff, because I criticize the Oscars big time because I'm like, you should have a comic, like a comic, a host. You need somebody in there who's funny, who knows how to do bits, who can build a show. That's really important. As somebody who hosts things for a living, I can tell you like that's important. It doesn't seem like an important thing. Everybody's like, oh, we'll just have an actor host it, or even the Golden Globes, even some of the actors that hosted the Golden Globes stinks, awful. You got to have somebody who's funny, who knows how to host, who knows how to construct bits and move a show along. It's really important. And I thought Alicia did a really good job not being in that, not being that sort of comic-y, person, not a typical host, being an artist. I thought she really rose to the occasion and did well. She moved the show along. She did, like, her bits were singing with some of the artists and doing some of those things. Lovely, lovely. When she sat down at the piano, though, that was the highlight of her hosting duties for the night. It could not get better than that for her. It was great. Absolutely, absolutely great. Let's see here. What else do we want to do? There's really, really a lot. The category that killed everybody in the Grammy Pick'em Pool was Best New Artist. When I tell you, out of all of the entries we got, hundreds, one person, defying the odds, one person picked Dua Lipa to win Best New Artist. One person. This is her with St. Vincent. Yeah, she came out to do Mass Seduction, and then they did her song. Do we have that? It was good. I was kind of like heading to bed at this moment. Turned on, it was like almost 11 o'clock. Turned off the TV downstairs and everything. Went up to watch the rest of it as I fell asleep. But I thought they were really great together. Really, really strong together. To me, I could see that being a tour in the future. St. Vincent and Dua Lipa. I thought that was a really good performance of the night. I thought, as far as like solo performances go, I have one that I really, really loved. Some of the ones that missed a little. I thought Lady Gaga was fine. I thought she was good. I know a lot of people didn't like her. It was always good to see Mark Ronson on that stage. I think he's one of the best producers in the game. He was playing guitar. Although they had this like intense exchange where she was like pointing at his chest and everything and looking into his eyes. It was a little too intense for me. I didn't know what was going to happen. That was really it, though. It didn't really go anywhere from there. Let's go to some of the collabs and tributes. Diana Ross, I thought, was great. For what, 75?
Every time I feel how life goes by.
75. Come on. Amazing. Give it up. She had the audience into it and everything. Let's skip around a little bit. So super family oriented too. I forget what other show she closed. It was recently too, one of the award shows. But she had like her whole family up there, all the kids and everything. It was just really lovely to see. We have actually good sound of Dolly Parton, right? Let's get this one up here. Oh, this was Casey Musgraves and Maren Morris, was it? They started it? Oh no, Katy Perry. Oh, I thought Katy Perry. Blech. I'm a big Katy Perry fan. She stunk. By the way, though, I mean, Casey Musgraves can make a lot of people look bad. Like, this isn't like a Katy Perry stunk thing. It was more like Katy Perry was a smidge out of place. This wasn't really in her wheelhouse. And then to stick her next to Casey Musgraves, and then eventually Dolly Parton came out. So they cut. This is terrible. I probably shouldn't repeat this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. They cut to Smokey when Dolly Parton came out, and he stood up and started applauding. I looked over to my face at my wife. Smokey's just excited because he finally sees somebody he knows. This is all just these new. I didn't even know half these people. And then out comes Dolly Parton. There's Smokey, like, oh, I know you. Oh, that one I know. I know her. I know Smoke. I know Dolly. Yeah, she's good. He was super happy to see her. It was a lovely exchange. It was a really lovely exchange. Her and Miley were good together. Miley had a couple of spots on the show. I thought she was great. By the way, and again, the other like super great part about the Grammys, which I feel like it's the big reason why it's better than the Oscars and some of the other shows out there, is it's like you go into the audience, they go into the audience for shots, and everybody's just having a blast. Everybody's dancing and singing along. Like everybody sang along. When Dolly Parton got to the end of her set and brought all the people on stage and they did 9 to 5, the place went crazy.
Then I jump in the shower and the blood starts pumping. Out on the streets and traffic starts jumping with folks like me on the job from 9 to 5. Everybody, working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. Barely getting by. It's all taken.
I mean, just like they had Little Big Town and Maren Morris and Casey Musgraves, and they all came back. Katy Perry, but the whole audience was on their feet singing along to Dolly Parton. It was really, really lovely. Everybody looked like they were having a good time, which was just awesome. It really, really was awesome. So those are the two big, legend moments: Dolly Parton and what's her name? It was really, really nice. I thought Janelle Monáe was also good. Let me get to that one before we get to some of the not so good ones. I thought Janelle Monáe had a nice set. She played that song that her and Prince worked on together before Prince died. And then she eventually sat down and put a drop ceiling on her head. I don't know if you guys saw that one. It was a drop ceiling, but it had like a cutout for her hair, which was like goldish. It looked like a Sunnyside egg from one angle. Again, I wear pajamas to work every day. I can't. I'm not the person to, but still. As a huge Prince fan, I love hearing that song. I like her album in a big way. I'm a big Janelle Monáe fan. I just think that she's kind of carrying that torch around a little bit, which makes me really happy. Diana Ross. Did I forget to say Diana Ross a second ago? I forgot to say Diana Ross a second ago. They tried to manufacture some controversy because that's what gets clicks these days is the word controversy. I'm so over fake internet outrage. I can't even anymore. Drake went up for his acceptance speech. This is what happened.
That's really nice. I definitely did not think I was winning anything. My brother's here. I want to take this opportunity while I'm up here to just talk to all the kids that are watching this, that are aspiring to do music, all my peers that make music from their heart, that do things pure and tell the truth. I want to let you know we play in an opinion-based sport, not a factual-based sport. So it's not the NBA where at the end of the year you're holding a trophy because you made the right decisions or won the games. This is a business where sometimes, it's up to a bunch of people that might not understand, what a mixed race kid from Canada has to say, or a fly Spanish girl from New York, or anybody else, or a brother from Houston right there, my brother Travis. But look, the point is, you've already won if you have people who are singing your songs word for word. If you're a hero in your hometown, Look, if there's people who have regular jobs who are coming out in the rain, in the snow, spending their hard-earned money to buy tickets to come to your shows, you don't need this right here. I promise you. You already won.
I thought that was great. He gets an applause break. He takes this huge pause, and then they went to break. And then I guess they cut him off. I guess he had more to say. But then afterwards, he said he was happy with what was said. And so people were like, "Oh, why they cut him off?" They cut off by the way, 2 or 3 other times that happened. Like there were some of these weird, awkward, long pauses. And people were like, "Are they done?" That's a stressful thing, live TV. So I don't think they cut him off intentionally. And by the way, what he said, I thought was wonderful. Like wonderful. Like I don't like this conspiracy that the Grammys needed to silence what he said. Like no, it's fine. Everybody at every award show, there's one person at some point that's like, this is great, thank you, but this is not what it's about. It's about blah, blah, blah. And that's exactly what he said. If people are buying your music, if people are going out to see you in the rain, they're hard on money, you've already won. And that could not be more true. That could absolutely not be more true. I thought what he said was very nice, lovely, and eloquently stated. And I don't think anybody cut him off. And by the way, it's not even a story. Like it popped a little bit last night, and then it sort of faded a bit. So it's like you could tell, like it's just nobody really cares. It wasn't a story. Some of the misses. I was looking forward to the Chili Peppers and Post Malone. I thought they were both okay. I just thought that they didn't really work all that great together. Sort of the way Dua Lipa and St. Vincent, like they really molded those two together. They were good. St. Vincent on Dua Lipa's song More, that was really what, boom, made that work quite lovely, Post Malone was just sitting there playing guitar while the Red Hot Chili Peppers were playing. You could have done without him. I thought he could have done a verse or sang a little bit with them or something. I thought that they could have made that meld a little bit better together, and they didn't, which kind of makes me question and wonder why was it even put to, like, you know, artists have got to vibe with each other before you just do that. You can't just go, oh, that's a good idea, and then get their managers to agree to it, which I kind of have a feeling might have been what happened. You know, or they might have been like, yeah, I'm open to it. Clearly, they're open to it. Then what they do with the Super Bowl, like, it's a page out of McCartney's book. Like, Paul McCartney, from day one, post-Beatles, has been like, who's the hot young new artist? Sure, I'll do a song with them. Like, he's never been afraid to go with the sort of flavor of the month as far as the pop world goes. And I think the Chili Peppers are doing the same thing. And again, it's a great strategy. It's not a bad idea. It's just that it wasn't like... I was excited for it. They were hyping it as the big collab of the night. They certainly didn't talk about St. Vincent or Dua Lipa whatsoever. That wasn't in any of the promos. I thought it was that was like their go-to collab that everybody was going to be talking about, and it just kind of fell flat for me. It was a little bit of a dud. Who else was kind of a miss? I think that was really it. All the other performances were not that bad. Overall, even Shawn Mendes, and I thought he was great to start the show. He was like one of the first performances of the night. Was pretty good. As far as great performances, though, to me, this almost became a head-to-head competition between Casey Musgraves and Brandi Carlile. The shame of this is that Brandi won 3 awards, just none of them were on TV. But her performance was killer. Casey won all the awards that she won, and that was all on television. But her performance was quite lovely as well.
Didn't even notice it ain't raining anymore. It's hard to breathe when all you know is the struggle of staying.
Again, I said this earlier about Casey. Like, she's been putting out some albums, and she's been putting out some material, and not really finding her place in that country world. We played her a little bit, you know, we've been playing her on EHM. She's kind of getting that indie cred a little bit. And this just to clearly put her over the top. I put this comparison to her. Not a lot of people do, because I feel like not a lot of people really listen to the whole album when they comment on it. But she has this Ben Folds vibe where she can be a little silly and a little funny in some of her lyrics, and a little sassy, you know, a little dig a little bit, you know, be humorous a smidge at times. Which I feel like Ben Folds does a lot, and people tend to not take that as seriously. But they took Golden Hour really seriously, and it won Album of the Year, and it was a huge, massive win for her. This is great news. And again, where she wasn't really embraced by country radio all that much, I think they have no choice now. You're gonna hear her all over country radio. So good for Casey Musgraves. Been a massive fan of hers. I liked her material just okay, and then when I saw her at Farm Aid, she really won me over. But I thought Brandi had the best performance of the night, and that's like, I'm such a homer. I'm such a fan of hers. Like, this is like the least exciting thing from a broadcast point of view. Like, big shocker, the indie guy like the big indie artist. But still, I mean, even knowing that this is kind of a strikeout for broadcasting standards, I could care less. She was amazing, and what I liked about her performance in a big way. It started off slow, like the song does. But when you go back and you watch her 3 minutes in, she is having the time of her life. And you can just see it on her face that, I don't even know how long she's been playing for, 20 years? Like, just 20 years of grinding it out as the indie darling. Like, she's finally, like, in a big spot on the Grammys, with a Madison Square Garden date coming up in September. Everybody in the room, by the way, everybody in the room was a fan of Brandi Carlile, because that's her thing. If you're an EHM listener, take yourself out of this for a second, because again, you're smarter than the average bear here. But the whole entire world has no idea who Brandi Carlile is. If you're not into indie music, you have no clue who Brandi Carlile is. But if you're into music, which even the pop artists, the hip hop artists, the folk artists, the rock artists, they're all into music, period. You look around that room and everybody was singing, like, everybody was super happy for her. And she was having the time of her life. And there was just that synergy moment there between her and the audience. And again, all those years of her playing sort of just coming together. And it like, she looked like she was up there doing her thing, having an absolute blast. And I also, and I don't know who gets credit for this, Brandi or a manager or a producer of the show, but the brilliant part of this performance, aside from Brandi, was putting the lyrics of this song on the big screen behind her. Because if you're not familiar with the song, it is so apropos of our times right now. I mean, it is so talking about, you know, what's going on in the world, and she does it through this sort of storytelling, and the song is called The Joke, but it's such a serious thing, and it really just kind of captures life and how things are going right now in a big way. And by the way, she doesn't sing the clearest way. Like, when you see the words and you hear how she's singing it, you're like, oh, okay, that's what she's saying. It's very easy to misunderstand her lyrics on this one. So to me, putting the lyrics behind her was just brilliant. I mean, you just read the lyrics and you'll understand why she called the song The Joke and why it works so well. Why it actually has something to say outside of it just being a really, really good tune. So she did a clean sweep in all the awards that weren't on TV. She won 3 of those. She didn't win Album of the Year, Song of the Year, or Record of the Year, but Best Americana Album was hers, Best American Roots Song, and Best American Roots Performance for Brandi Carlile. So big wins for her. But again, not as big as it could have been. Like, you got to win these things on TV or else nobody really knows. I mean, they said she won 3 Grammys that day, but if she would have won one of those other categories, that would have been major win for her. Major. I still thought she came out of it looking pretty good, though. Overall, I still thought she looked pretty good. Okay, so Grammy Pick 'em Pool, we did this. A lot of people entered. We had a bunch of people tie for the most correct, which out of 13 categories, 5 was the most correct. Dua Lipa really threw people for a loop. As I said, only one person out of all the entries actually chose Dua Lipa for Best New Artist. So as we do when we go to the tiebreaker, we put all the people that got 5 right in a hat. We pick one out at random, and that's Marie Hamble. Congratulations, Marie. You got tickets to go see the great Anderson East, who was nominated for a Grammy, who got beat by Brandi Carlile. He's still lovely and wonderful over at the West Hampton Beach Performing Arts Center. Tickets on sale for that show now at 288-1500, online at whbpac.org. Out of the expert picks, I went 2 for 13. Let's not talk about it. Harry went 6 for 13. Lauren went 7 for 13. We should look up the one person who picked Dua Lipa for Best New Artist. I don't know who that was. We should shout them out, though. Outside of that one person, the only other person in the Grammy Pick 'em Pool to pick Dua Lipa for Best New Artist was Lauren, which sealed the victory up for her over Harry because they were 6 and 6 together. She got the Best New Artist. She pulls ahead, wins the Super Bowl in the last second. David Tyree catch style over the head. 7 to 6 over Harry. 7 out of 13. Better than 50%. Huge victory for the midday show here on EHM. Big bragging rights for Lauren Stone. Huge bragging rights. She gets to carry that around for the next year. We don't do this so much for the Oscars. We don't know anything about films. But music's our thing. Well, I loosely say that now, seeing that one of the personalities here at EHM went 2 for 13. Yeah, that's big. 7 for, like I said, out of all the people who entered, 5 for 13 was the best from the audience. So, big numbers there from Lauren Stone. Huge. Tom Brady-like numbers. I'm going to upset the Jets fans today, like you haven't been through enough, and say Tom Brady-like numbers